In this lesson, we will be classifying quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides and 4 angles. Each of the figures below is a quadrilateral. Each figure has 4 sides and 4 angles. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral that has exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. In this figure, I see 1 pair of parallel sides. Parallel sides mean that the lines will never touch. In this example, I see this pair of parallel lines. And in this example, I see this pair of parallel lines. Each of these figures is a trapezoid. Let's look at some more quadrilaterals. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral that has 2 pairs of parallel sides. Next we have a rectangle. A rectangle is a parallelogram because it has 2 pairs of parallel sides. But a rectangle also must have 4 right angles. A right angle is 90 degrees. Now let's look at a rhombus. A rhombus is a parallelogram because it has 2 pairs of parallel sides. But a rhombus must have 4 equal sides. So this shape is a rhombus with 4 equal sides and 2 pairs of parallel sides. Now let's look at a square. A square is a parallelogram because it has 2 pairs of parallel sides. It also has 4 equal sides. So a square is a rhombus. But a square must have 4 right angles, 90-degree angles. Let's practice classifying the quadrilateral in as many ways as possible. Look at the first figure. I can see that this shape has 1 pair of parallel sides. Trapezoids have 1 pair of parallel sides, so this figure is a trapezoid. It is not a parallelogram because parallelograms must have 2 sets of parallel sides. Rectangles also must have 2 sets of parallel sides, and they must have 4 right angles. This shape is not a rectangle. A rhombus must have 4 equal sides and 2 sets of parallel sides. This shape is not a rhombus. A square must have 4 right angles, 4 equal sides, and 2 sets of parallel sides. This shape is not a square. We would classify this quadrilateral as a trapezoid. Let's look at another example. First, I'm going to find my parallel sides. This shape has 2 sets of parallel sides. A trapezoid only has 1 set of parallel sides, so this shape is not a trapezoid. It is a parallelogram because it has 2 sets of parallel sides. A rectangle is a parallelogram that has 4 right angles. In this shape, I do not see any right angles. I see 2 obtuse angles that are greater than 90 degrees, and I see 2 acute angles that are less than 90 degrees. So this shape is not a rectangle. I also know that a square must have 4 right angles. So I know that this shape is not a square. Now let's look at the rhombus. A rhombus must have 2 sets of parallel sides and 4 equal sides, or 4 congruent sides. In this shape, each side is equal. So this shape is a rhombus. We can classify this shape as a parallelogram and a rhombus. Let's look at this example. First, let's find the parallel sides. This shape has two sets of parallel sides. A trapezoid only has one, so this shape is not a trapezoid, but it is a parallelogram with two sets of parallel sides. Rectangles must have 4 right angles, and this shape does have 4 right angles. So this shape is a rectangle. It has two sets of parallel sides and 4 right angles. A rhombus must have 4 equal sides, and it also must have two sets of parallel sides. So this shape is a rhombus. A square must have two sets of parallel sides, 4 equal sides, and 4 right angles. So this shape is also a square. We can classify this shape as a parallelogram, a rectangle, a rhombus, and a square. Let's look at this shape. First, we'll find the parallel sides. This shape has two sets of parallel sides. It is not a trapezoid, it is a parallelogram. It is not a rectangle because it does not have 4 right angles. See an acute angle, an obtuse angle, an acute angle, and another obtuse angle. This shape is not a square because squares also must have 4 right angles. To be a rhombus, all sides of this shape must be equal. I can see that the opposite sides are equal, but all the sides do not equal the same length. So this shape is not a rhombus. We will classify this shape as a parallelogram. Here's another example. Let's find our parallel sides. This shape has two sets of parallel sides. It is not a trapezoid, it is a parallelogram. Let's check to see if it has right angles. I can see that each angle forms a right angle, so this shape is a rectangle. In order to be a rhombus, the shape must have two sets of parallel sides, and each side must be congruent. Opposite sides are equal in this shape, but each side is not congruent to each other. So this shape is not a rhombus. Also, to be a square, each side must be equal. This shape is not a square. We can classify this shape as a parallelogram and a rectangle. And this concludes our lesson on classifying quadrilaterals.